What is it that you want cannabis for? Do you have pain in the morning that you need to address, or maybe nausea? See, for me, I'm 71 and I have to take thyroid pills now, and they nauseate the hell out of me. But cannabis stops that nausea right in its tracks. So every morning I take that pill, and right after that I go have a dose of cannabis in whatever form I want to use it. And that prevents that first nausea in the morning that I've been dealing with for 30 years.
Welcome to Season 6 of the Cannabis Truth Podcast, where we speak the language of cannabis freely and uncensored, while educating our audience on safe use of this live plant therapy. You should know what's in your cannabis, what's good and what's not, because cannabis does not come with an FDA stamp of approval, yet. The information you will find here comes straight from scientists and clinicians, doing the work and reporting their findings in reputable outlets. Hopefully, we can inspire you to research the facts as we know them today. Cannabis is an amazing alternative in health remedies, with the potential to alleviate typical disease problems and troubling side effects, even those caused by synthetic prescriptions. Here now is the host of the Cannabis Truth Podcast. She is a 21st century cannabis shaman, not a doctor, not a scientist. Raised by nuns and wolves in the verdant cattle pastures of the Oklahoma oil fields, here to amplify the truth of this great big story of cannabis in historical, political, scientific, and spiritual terms, so you can make educated decisions about the medicine you choose to ingest. Please welcome Honey Smith Walls.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to pumpkin season. Got my big pumpkin shirt on and everything. I'm so tickled to be here with you in the Cannabis Truth program. This episode is going to be just you and me, and we're talking about the process. And so I just wanted to sort of let you know, if you're new to cannabis, the process for getting involved in medicinal cannabis, that's intentional healing with cannabis, is a whole lot different than the philosophical ideas of the recreational bunch. So I want you to have all of the tools handy and available, and that means knowledge of cannabis, so that you can make the best choices for yourself and invite real healing of your issues into your body. So can't wait to get started. Let's just talk about it. It's not that hard. I've just got 5 little points to make. The first one, it's all really a lot about basic safety tips. So when you start looking for a cannabis product to use, it might be difficult in your state depending on the laws. So not every state has the same philosophical ideas about using plant therapy medicinally or even recreationally. So I would advise you to begin looking at reputable companies. Now, what's a reputable company? Well, that's somebody who really takes your medical situation or emotional or body or spiritual situation seriously. They care about you holistically. And this company treats cannabis like the healing plant that it can be. So the company that you want to purchase your products from will have that kind of philosophy, and they'll be very, very upfront about it because they're proud of their philosophy. They are trying to attract people who want to learn about cannabis medicinally so that they can find relief. And that's truly what using the plant is all about, finding relief. So once you go to choose a company that you're considering purchasing from, you'll notice they're loud and proud about working with patients people who are interested in the medicine of cannabis, not just the high. And you'll notice that they've got a long science background talking about how they got from their own first thoughts about becoming a cannabis company or a cannabis product. And usually those companies start with, my dad was sick and I knew about cannabis, making people feel better. And so we tried it and he got la la la. So they've usually always got some sort of backstory that's very relatable. And you'll see these are real people. They'll put their real names up there. They'll put their real emails up there for you to contact them. And they want to talk about how they became a company that's trustworthy, that you can find real medicinal relief from. So that's one of the ways. Plus, this company that you're looking at would also be going through all the hoops and backward somersaults of their legal, state, and local county and city structures. So they will have all the licensure, they will have everything properly packaged, they will have a certificate of analysis on each product that says it's had a third-party lab test that proves there's no pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, back guano, molds, mildews, or anything else in that product that could be sucked up from being a live plant. Could be sucked up out of the soil or, gotten from the winds that carry stuff, bacteria and molds and stuff. So it's really important to look at the safety production of the company that you want to buy from. Do they have a COA, a certificate of analysis? Always, often called a third-party lab test. Do they have one of those on all of their products? Or are they just trying to give you one certificate of analysis for everything in their store? That doesn't work. That's not real. That's just them trying to fake you out. So make sure that the company that you're purchasing from has a certificate of analysis on every single product that they're selling. And then you'll know, you'll have a pretty good, read the reviews of this company. Do a Google review for this company. See what you can find out. This is a nascent industry. It's so brand new, and we're still figuring out all of this stuff to make it available to consumers again. So there's going to be some hoops that we'll have to jump through. But we can do that to make sure this product is safe for us so that we really can get the full benefit of its relief. The next thing I want you to do is, once you get a product home for yourself, and you will have already gone through a bit of a discovery process here. And that discovery will include your intention for using cannabis to begin with. Is it that you have sleeplessness? Are you bothered by anxiety? Do you have inflammation? Do you want control over your tummy again so that your tummy isn't hurting with IBS issues? There's just all kinds of reasons to be using gentle but powerful and safe plant therapy instead of using all of the over-the-counter or doctor's prescriptions for typical aches and pains that we can manage on our own that don't really require a doctor dance. Oh, you hear that? That's some clown trying to get me on my phone.
Yeah, honey, no.
This is a shout out to all my entrepreneurial sisters. I'm wondering, Are you feeling stuck like I did when I first started my business? I hadn't been through business college, and there were so many things I didn't know and understand, especially about marketing, especially about the back-end bone structure of your business, and all the little things that you could do to help yourselves in the way of tools that you make handy for yourself during your business structure and your ongoing business. So looking forward, if you need help in getting those little projects done, but you've been stumped because you just couldn't figure out one piece of that app or the next step or the next darn, and you just wanted somebody to just show me how, I'm your girl. That's why I created honeyshelp.com. Now you can get a la carte help for those little projects that have just been nagging you and nagging you. Yes, it's true. I can help you with a lot of that stuff that builds the backbones of your business. And we can do it together in a stress-free situation where you will enjoy learning how to structure the backbones of your business. I hope that you will go visit honeyshelp.com for more information about what we could do together to get you past those hurdles and roadblocks that have just been stumping you for so long, when all it would take is just a few minutes of somebody showing you how. I'm your girl. This is Honey Smith Walls, and I hope that you will too. Go visit honeyshelp.com today. Hi, Honey Smith Walls here. I'm a host of the Cannabis Truth Podcast, weekly for the past 6 years. But today I'm inviting you to a Facebook group called the Holistic Relief Summit, in hopes that you too will come for the peace and stay for the epiphanies. It's a beautiful space for women to find all kinds of relief from all kinds of suffering. Come join us for free.
Well, hello, I'm Dr. Philip Blair, and I want to introduce you to Honey Smith Walls. And she recently had an experience with beta-caryophyllene.
I was gobsmacked. Absolutely gobsmacked. So I had terrible arthritis, still do, in my hands and my feet. Have some serious neuropathy in my fingertips that had been awakening me every hour on the hour all night long for months. All I could think about was pain. And so my personality, this girl had completely disappeared. Next thing you know, I find out about your product,
right,
and what beta-caryophyllene can really do. Within minutes of taking my first dose, I could feel the sadness just lifting. What I want to tell you, that after you have discovered some of the information you're going to be using about yourself, what is it that you want cannabis for? Do you have pain in the morning that you need to address, or maybe nausea? See, for me, I'm 71 and I have to take thyroid pills now, and I have to take them on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, and they nauseate the hell out of me. But cannabis stops that nausea right in its tracks. So every morning, first thing, I'm up at like 6 in the morning and I take that pill. And right after that, I go have a dose of cannabis in whatever form I want to use it. And that prevents that first nausea in the morning that I've been dealing with for 30 years. 30 years of nausea. Just trying to get past it and waiting an hour before I could eat something and quell that. Now I don't have to wait an hour. The next thing is Once you have figured out, if you need something in the morning first thing, you want to be careful about what product you're choosing, because you don't want the one that you would take at night that would help you go to sleep. See what I'm saying? So there's certain kinds of cannabis that you would want for being awake, and there's certain kinds of cannabis that you would want for being asleep. And you have to know which is what. Otherwise, you don't want to get that sleepy time stuff first thing in the morning going on. Right. The next thing you want to do is remember to go slow. Start low and go slow. That's a famous term in our industry. Start low, go slow. But Dr. Dustin Sulak of healer.com fame, he says, start low and go slow, but don't be afraid to go all the way. And he says that because he's got a practice with, hundreds of patients. He's a DO up in Maine, a doctor of osteopath, and he's been using cannabis with his patient load for years and years and years now, maybe, 15 years. And so he's got this huge clientele of patients who are giving him feedback on the products that he is producing. And so you can go to his product line on his website and start looking through that to help yourself understand much, much, much more about choosing the right product. And that's what you want to do. You want to just get a little information, a little education, and start strategizing about how you can use this product that has such a variety of choices in what you use, the effects you're going to get, how you use it, when to use it, where to buy it, all that stuff. So many questions that you'll be answering for yourself, because all of these answers are unique to your body. No two people are going to be using the same kind of cannabis for the same kind of issues. So it's just, that's just the way it is. Very individual. The next thing you want to do, so let's just go back and talk about the first three things. First thing, you're going to choose a reliable source to buy your products. The next thing, you're going to figure out what your intentions are for your body. Inflammation, anxiety, acute pain, all sorts of things that you can work on. And the next thing, after you've looked at a product list, determined that it's safe to purchase from that company, and you've determined what your needs are for, then you're going to start looking at those products to make sure that they're the right ones for the particular time of day that you need them. And then you're going to learn how to tame THC and what that formula looks like for you. It's individual, again, for every single person. No two people will tame THC the same way. And if you didn't know that you can tame THC with a formula, then it's real good news for you, especially if you're an elder and you're afraid of that woozy thing going on. You're afraid that you're going to fall, afraid that you're going to break a hip, afraid that your life as you know it now will be changed forever and everybody else is around you. That's why elders are afraid of the high in THC. They're afraid that that bad reputation of that all that woozy stuff going on is going to make them fall. Well, it could, if you're not used to THC. And so it's great to be cautious of the woozy if you're not familiar with it. And I want you to know that you can totally tame it and never have to feel the woozy from using THC. but it's there for you if you want that euphoria. I happen to like that euphoria, and I use cannabis for euphoria for real happy things. Like when I'm hooking up with a bunch of musicians and want to play, or when I'm about to, watch a really great movie, or when I'm going to be with some terrific friends and do something wonderfully fun, going camping or something like that. So, but that's different. Those are for special times. I'm really a patient of cannabis, not just an educator. I use it myself because I've got this horrific arthritis going on in my hands that just make my hands hurt like hell all day long. I've got pretty horrific neuropathy in the tips of my fingers, and so I'm losing the ability to discern what touch means on my fingers. If I reach into my purse with my hand, I can't tell my phone from my wallet anymore. I can't tell a piece of paper from my wallet, hardly. There's just some things. My makeup kit, can't tell my makeup kit from my wallet. So I'm losing the ability to discern the meaning of touch that I've always known in my fingertips, and it's different. My hands lose grasp of things, and when I wake up in the morning, I'm usually fisted like this. So it's real hard to make them relax. So I use cannabis first thing in the morning for real pain first thing in the morning, and then I use it for real nausea first thing in the morning. And as a matter of fact, the stuff that I use first thing in the morning gives me energy and focus. So now I've got that added benefit to my day. And I get up, get busy, and get my exercise done, take the puppies out. Oh, guess what? They saw a deer running through our backyard this morning. All 5 of my puppies took out after it, just like, ooh, and it was so much fun. And that deer, I think it was male, and it had like 7 or 8 points on it. It was glorious to see, and it looked like it just hopped in slow motion, and then it stopped on the mound in our backyard and just looked around, and I thought it was looking straight at me. I was standing in the kitchen watching, looking out the kitchen window in the backyard, and oh, it was so wonderful to see all those little flapping ears go chasing after that big old deer, and how it just galloped off and clipped hurdled that fence like it was stepping over a bubblegum wrapper. It was just glorious to see. Anyway, sorry. I got sidetracked on that little story. So once you have figured out what the formula is for taming THC for yourself, and let me just say this, because it's as easy as putting butter and syrup on pancakes. I'm not kidding you. Once you find out how to work the formula for taming THC, and there's several different ways, and there's several different levels to it. So, but it's easy. I promise you, it's just like putting butter and syrup on pancakes. And so once you figure that out, then you're going to know how much THC that you need for your pain as well. So, and it's not going to be that much. When people first start using cannabis, often they start with just a hemp product that's got the teeniest, tiniest percentage of THC in it that's like a breath. Just a little teeny tiny bit of THC, and often that's plenty to quell the pain of like arthritis or to quell the nausea. Oh, it's especially wonderful for nausea and anxiety. Hemp is wonderful for anxiety because the compounds in hemp are greater than THC. And often, people don't know this really, but often it's the THC that makes them anxious and nervous and skittish and troubled because they overuse THC in their products. So, as you can see, there's a little bit of understanding that you have to obtain about this. Just a little bit of research, just a little bit of knowledge, and it is not hard. It really isn't. Although cannabis is a huge and complex plant with hundreds of compounds in it, we have literally the world's history, written history, since the first Chinese emperor called Shen Nung created the first pharmacopoeia, writing many, many, many pages about what they call cannabis. And so we have all of that anecdotal, testimonial history about cannabis, and it's all good. I'm just saying, it is all good, no matter where you get it from around the world. It was a British doctor in India that discovered bhang and took it back to Queen Elizabeth to help her with her menstrual cramps. And that's how cannabis was spread in England. So there's just some amazing stories. You're going to love the history of cannabis. Google it. Google the history of cannabis. You're going to be amazed. And, oh, by the way, you're going to have to rewrite the American history when you start Googling the history of cannabis. Because, and I say this all the time, because the white guys never would have made it over here to this continent without cannabis. Do you know why? It's because you can't shove a boat across an ocean without sails, and rope, both made from cannabis. And when they got here, they turned into our forefathers, and they told all the other pilgrims who came over that they would also grow hemp so that they could start our first American Navy. Why? Because you can't shove a boat across an ocean without sails and rope. So our first American Navy was built from the backbone of cannabis. You remember Henry Ford, of course. He built his first cars with cannabis. There's even an airplane with cannabis now, but back in those days of Henry Ford, did you know? He even grew cannabis and made biofuel out of it for 40,000 of his brand new cars that he made with cannabis parts. So there's all kinds of history that we're no longer even aware of, and dark history too, I might add. You remember Alcatraz, don't you? That was the first for-profit prison created to house black and brown people, specifically to incarcerate them from using cannabis. So that was all part of the American history of gaslighting our society about cannabis. And again, you read the history and decide for yourself. They didn't teach any of this in high school to me. I had to learn it in my 60s, a decade ago. So, and I was quite shocked and dismayed at how our society leaders have led us down the big corporate path instead of the real healthy path. Anyway, y'all go look that up for yourself. So once you have figured out, let's go over these steps again. Choosing a reliable source to get reliable products, determining what your intentions are, getting a product that you know or that you are hoping will help your morning issues, your afternoon issues, your nighttime issues, and choosing appropriately for those times of day. learning how to tame THC, and now, part of learning how to choose how to tame THC, like I said, there's several layers to it, and one of those layers is the choices you make. Like I said, you want to choose the right stuff for the right time of day, because some of the cannabis compounds can be sedative, and some of the cannabis compounds can be uplifting and energizing. So you want to choose the right ones, and then there's something sort of in between that, doesn't do either. So you want to choose those right products for yourself. But once you have chosen those right products, you also want to consider the delivery method that you're choosing, because each delivery method has its own time of onset when you begin to feel the effects and how long they last. So, for instance, if you're going to smoke a cannabis product, it's only going to last for a couple of hours. It's going to come on immediately, but it's only going to last for a couple of hours. So maybe smoking is not the most efficient way to use that product before you go to bed at night, because you're wanting to sleep more than 2 hours. And if that product effect goes away after 2 hours, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night. So maybe it would be better to choose a product that would go through your liver and last longer. So it's going to take about 30 minutes to get down to your liver if you consume a product like an edible or something that you swallow. So if you consume an edible, it takes about 30 minutes to get down to your liver, and then it will last a lot longer. And so you can rely on that product taken in that way to give you 6 to 8 hours of pain relief or nausea relief or anxiety relief or inflammatory relief. You see what I'm saying? So if you just smoked it, it might only last for a couple of hours. But if you consume it and let it go down through your liver, it's going to last a lot longer and be more effective for your needs. So that's where the strategy comes in. There's a lot of strategy in cannabis. And so that's just one way of learning which delivery method to choose. And so you'll be looking into that and researching the various ways of consumption. So a tincture that you might take, if you put the droppers, the drops in your mouth and swish it around on the inside of your cheeks, you've got little bloody capillaries inside your cheeks, and that tincture will just go straight through your blood-brain barrier using those little bloody capillaries, and you will feel it almost immediately. So you don't necessarily have to smoke something to feel it immediately. You can use a tincture and swish it around in these bloody capillaries, with your tongue. And then anything else that you swallow, that will give you the added benefit of going down through your liver and giving you a longer ride of relief. So again, strategizing, and it's so much fun. And you've got so many products to choose from that will be fun to do this with. After that, that's your delivery method and your choices and your onset. I would just remind you to come join our little Facebook group if you want to talk to somebody about real medicinal cannabis and how to use it safely and efficiently. I've written a book. It's called, here it is. It's called Healing Beyond High. Here it is. And it's only 116 pages. but it is power-packed with my trusted sources. In here, you'll see my trusted sources of people who you can get in touch with. They have companies. That was a veterinarian, and yes, I use cannabis for my animals. Dogs, cats, turkeys, cows, horses, anything with a spine can use cannabis safely and efficiently if you know how. And the other trusted sources in my book will be doctors and medical professionals who I know, who I have been working with over the past decade, who know me and trust me and have read my book. This book has been peer reviewed by medical professionals in the cannabis industry. So you know the information I'm giving you is true and correct. Now, it's only 116 pages, and I have tried to take the language of cannabis and put it into something more palatable instead of those 15-letter, multisyllable words from science. And also, I'm trying to help you understand the difference between just, not bothering to go get a medical card and going to a recreational facility to purchase some cannabis for yourself for the first time and being completely overwhelmed with not understanding any of it or what they are saying, because the recreational bunch have their own language. And it's nothing like medicinal. They don't talk about finding relief. They talk about the high and the buzz and the smell. That's it. The high, the buzz, the smell. That's it. Oh yeah, and the cost, the price. So, and oftentimes when you go into those big dispensaries, they'll have great big jars and they'll pop the lid off and shove it under your nose and let you smell what's inside that big old jar of cannabis. Now, to me, that's like going to a restaurant and ordering filet mignon and having the server pass it around under everybody's nose in the restaurant before it gets to me. I don't want their nasty germs and backflush from their nasal passages. That's just gross. And it's a terrible habit, in my opinion, that all of the recreational stores do up here. Now, the reason they do that is to give you an opportunity to smell something that you like the smell of. See, and if you recognize something that smells good, then the philosophy is, oh, well, if it smells good, your body must be calling for it. So it must be right for you. But I beg to differ. I understand what they're saying, and I've even heard some of my beloved doctors say this too, but I beg to differ, because I love the smell of acetone and fingernail polish, but I would never consume it. So I'm just saying, not all things that smell good are consumable and shouldn't be. A lot of them are poisonous. I like the smell of bleach. Never drink it though. So just saying. If you want a head start, on understanding cannabis, this 116-page little book costs less than the price of a meal at McDonald's. And you can read it in about an hour and a half or 2 hours. And then you will have trusted sources that you can go look at. You will have a complete understanding of history, politics, science, and the medicinal philosophy and the how-to of using cannabis practically. So, yeah, it's a small book for all of that, but I've spent the last decade in the company of these doctors that I'm talking about in here, and other medical professionals and scientists and researchers and other advocates like myself. And I've been preaching the good word of cannabis for the past 6 years right here on the Cannabis Truth Podcast. And I just want you to know that there are safe and effective means to take care of finding relief in your body that doesn't always require a doctor dance. You know, you'll go take that ibuprofen and Pepto-Bismol and Tylenol without consulting your doctor. You can use this plant right here for those same reasons that you would use any of those other things, and this won't damage your liver like those things will. So, I hope that you will go to the store in the sky and order my book and give yourself a head start in cannabis knowledge, because it's coming back, not only to our society, but global societies. Medical professionals are finally beginning to see how helpful this plant is for their patients. And I list several of those medical professionals for you so that you can go and look at their products. Why several? Because they offer different formulations of cannabis. And once you begin reading and researching which formula is better for this, which formula is better, that people have had a lot of success with for that, or whatever, then, you've got a real head start. So I'm wishing you luck in your journey with cannabis. And I want you to have a head start and be able to tell your doctor, too, what you're doing, and give your doctor this book so that they will get interested in learning about it. Until next week, I'm so pleased to be here with you. And you can find this at any of the bookstores that you go to, either online or wherever. And thank you again for sharing this time with me and for learning about something that's going to make our whole society feel better. Wouldn't that be lovely if people weren't so upset and crazed anymore and into the chaos of our world? Yes, well, cannabis can help that too. All right, sending love to everybody, and I'll see you next week.
You've been listening to another Cannabis Truth Podcast with 21st century cannabis shaman Honey Smith Walls. Using cannabis mindfully as medication is a different concept in Western healthcare philosophy, specifically over the past century. There's a lot to learn and reconsider. The scientific truth of cannabis is finally getting out and is wide open for all to see at respected medical sites like the National Library of Medicine at pubmed.gov and the Journal of American Medical Association at JAMAnetwork.com. We here at the Cannabis Truth Podcast are right there in the thick of it, alongside the titans of medicine, as a fly on the wall. We are not doctors, nor did we go to medical school, but we have taken dozens of private cannabis courses and still engage in continuing education offered by expert cannabis scientists. Over the past few years, we slowly began to see and understand the bigger picture. Now we hear from people all day long about cannabis. It is so important to use verifiably safe products. The process of getting a diagnosis from your family doctor and taking your records to a cannabis specialist can lead you to the correct cannabinoid therapy for your specific issues. Otherwise, you're simply your own guinea pig looking for answers without the foundational knowledge or ability to determine your best strategy. To find a qualified cannabis expert in your area, visit cannabisclinicians.org. This is a national society of cannabis experts. Look for the link in the show notes. Unless otherwise proven by a reputable third-party lab test, please regard all street weed as contaminated. It may do grave harm to a patient with a delicate immune system who already has inflammatory issues like arthritis, IBS, fibromyalgia, or worse. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope you find value and understanding through the conversations you've heard on this podcast.
A quick shout out to Nathan Pierce and Daniel Rome of the 406 Budcast and their brilliant tech goddesses who created what you're about to hear next.
wisdom and a fire in her eyes. Talking plant truth where the silence lies. From the roots to the bloom, she saw the light. Now she's teaching folks how to heal it right. Not afraid to challenge the tale of lazy myths in a system that failed. She's got science in one hand, stories in the other. Lifts up the voices they tried to smother. Honey knows, honey grows. Truth in the soil and love in the smoke. Speaking for the elders and the ones left behind. She's the shaman of the leaf with a warrior's mind. Yeah, honey knows how the healing flows. From Florida sun to digital waves, she's breaking down fear with every word she says. Cannabis truth, that's her battle cry. For the mamas and papas still scared to try. She ain't selling hype, she's serving facts. Taking big pharma to school with class. With a mic and a mission, she lights the way for the lost and the curious every day. Honey knows, honey grows. Truth in the bud and peace in the dose. Teaching the plant like a sacred art. From the ECS to the beating heart. Yeah, honey knows how the healing flows. She's been burned by the system, lifted by the plant, giving voice to the ones who thought they can. A sister, a savior.